Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cool People During COVID. And I'm with my friend, Megan Mahn-Miller. Hey, Megan.
Hi, Nick.
You know what's so cool these days? I have never met you until today. We've been Facebook friends and had exchanges like that, and that's fantastic. But to actually get to talk with you is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interacting. I love it.
Well, we kind of connected through the auction business. I do some auctioneering, and you do too. You're actually a solopreneur, you call yourself.
I do. I've been in the auction industry for almost 15 years. Is that right? And then 3 years ago, I took the big leap and went into business for myself as an appraiser. Still involved in the auction world, but primarily appraising these days.
Wow. A lot of pressure on appraisers because it's always like, hey, what's this thing worth? As a matter of fact, there's like a big show now that Jeff Foxworthy's doing. What's it worth, right?
Yes.
I just get a kick out of this. I know we're going off track a little bit, but I watch this like Antique Roadshow, and these people have these things that are so old, they've had forever, and then they're hardly worth anything. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
And that's the kind of mistake that I would make. You could easily make that mistake, but then it's on you. You have to decide like, hey, this is a real thing or not really worth much. But sentimentally, that's good if you like it like that, right?
You always tell people, buy it because you love it. Don't buy it because you think it's worth a lot of money, because who knows what's going to happen.
What does it involve to appraise art or whatever, memorabilia? How do you do that?
Right. So most important and most difficult during COVID is inspecting the item. So
Inspecting, actually seeing it.
to go and see it and look at it and see the markings, and that's been challenging. But then from there, after an inspection, an appraiser goes and does some research, figures out what type of value you're looking for. That's real complicated for some people, because if you think about retail replacement value is probably higher than liquidation value, and people are like, why isn't it just one value? It all should be the same. So I can get into the weeds and be nerdy about appraisal stuff, but after we find a definition of value and do some sales comparisons and market research, we analyze all the information and tell you what your stuff is worth.
Wow. Well, I'd imagine there are not many people who do that, because you have to know so much and you have to remember so much. But I bet you enjoy it too, don't you?
I love my job.
I can tell.
My specialty is celebrity memorabilia. So it's hard to get bored when you're handling, what's the word? Grammy Awards. Can't even remember,
What? You've held Grammy Awards in your hand? And
There was one appraisal I did. There was 12 in one appraisal I did, and then like 15 in another.
wow.
It's fun. You gotta try not to practice giving your acceptance
Oh, how
speech, but
fun. That is awesome. Now, there's a lot of there are some legal things, so we can't really show pictures of what you've done. I would love to show you guys, but just know it's pretty cool stuff, and that's great. She's protecting her clients just like she would protect you out there if you have some celebrity memorabilia that you want to sell. And speaking of that, how would they get a hold of you? Maybe they have something that might be worth something.
oh yeah. I take questions all the time.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help people out.
And you have a website, and your website is
Mahn-Miller.com. So MAHNMILLER.com.
.com, and I'll have it right there below, so you'll easily be able to see that. In particular, if they would get in touch with you, what type of items would you want to see?
Well, it's interesting because people just find out that I'm an appraiser,
Yeah.
and they send me anything. They'll be like,
Right.
hey, this piece of artwork. And if I don't appraise it, I know someone else who does.
Okay.
But so I actually work for a lot of estates and heirs people who are donating property, like they have some really cool instrument and they want to donate it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I help those people get their appraisal for their tax purposes, insurance. Unfortunately, when people get divorced, if there's a big collection of memorabilia, you have to get those assets appraised so you can equitably distribute them.
Do people, how do you get your business?
A lot of referrals, actually.
Okay.
Some people who just find me through the wiles of SEO and websites and things like that. But there's some institutions that I've worked with a lot over the years, and unfortunately those months-long jobs where I'm going to Nashville or Tulsa or California, those stopped for the moment.
On it. I hear you. Well, how are you keeping things going during COVID?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
You know?
It's so funny to feel like, look back at March. My husband and I were just talking about this the other day, like how we thought this was going to last a month. And now here we are so many months later. I am an avid seamstress, so I've been sewing a lot.
Okay.
Last count, I've made 4 dresses, 2 blouses, and a yoga pillow.
Wow.
But also I'm involved with a community organization. It's called Community Exchange for Change. And we facilitate a free clothing swap for members of our community. And this was going to be our 2nd year. Last year, we felt really good about it. We held it in a community center. Well, this year the community center is closed, but we still wanted to try to do it. So we were inspired by some other sidewalk clothing swaps and decided to go ahead and just do it outside and have masks. And it went so well, we don't think we're ever going to go back to a community center.
Oh, fantastic.
Going to keep it that way. And if you're in Minnesota and you want to look us up on Facebook, it's Community Exchange for Change. And you'll get all the dates of when our next event will be. Community
Exchange for Change. What part of Minnesota?
That is in a northwestern suburb, just about 20 minutes outside of Minneapolis.
Okay, all right.
I'm beautiful northeast Minneapolis today.
Nice. And the traffic's not so bad there, so you can get there a lot easier than in LA. You'd forget it. That would be 3 hours away, but yeah, that's
I know.
Where you are. Awesome. So not only that, you're keeping busy with your sewing and you're doing some gardening, you were telling me before our interview here today, but you also have a podcast, don't you?
Well, it's not my podcast, but my great friend, Ann Nuri, who is one of those people who's just like thriving, kind of like you, like, I'm going to take this as an opportunity and make something new.
Yeah.
She started a podcast about downsizing. And so she asked me to be on to talk about like how appraisals factor into that. And then I had the opportunity to do a webinar with WorthPoint. They're an organization that they're an aggregate auction results website, but they also have articles. And so I've written some articles for them and got to do this webinar about signature identification.
What? Okay. And you can go to your website, Mahn-Miller.com, and find it there. Wow. Well, I'm so happy that you keep on keeping on and you're helping your community during this, and doggone it, you're right. None of us thought it would last so long, and who knows what's left, but that doesn't mean we stop or stop helping people along the way.
But I'm so excited. I mean, like the Community Exchange for Change, we found a better way. You're doing this. We get to see each other in person. I love watching videos and seeing all the cool people, I'm delighted. And you are
so cool.
Considered cool.
So cool. Yes, yes.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah, well, you used to live here in Los Angeles.
I did.
Yeah, and we worked for one of the very, very prestigious auction houses here for 12 years.
Julian's Auctions. It
Yeah.
was very good. And maybe I'll send you some pictures from some of the cool stuff I worked on with them.
Okay, that we can do. Okay. Yeah. Julian's, they're in Beverly Hills, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. See?
Well,
Wow.
they're
Yeah.
gals. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, you'll enjoy that. And again, check out her website, Mahn-Miller, MAHNMILLER.com, and it's going to be underneath there. Wow. Well, how fun. I mean, you were one of the nicest. You follow my videos, which is awesome. I hope the rest of you start following these too and start sharing them with your friends, because it's nice. I'm just hoping to encourage all of you out there, and how fun talking with you, Megan.
It's appreciated. And it would be, yeah, everyone should reach out to you and let them know.
They should.
Can.
Yay. All right, everyone. Glad you got to meet Megan. And until next time, everyone, be cool.
Cool. Thank you, Nick.